Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Jimmy.
Okay, because we're driving back.
That's dedication.
And I'm trying something new. So, okay.
You're good.
You guys see that all right?
Yep. Thanks, Aaron. Everything's good. Good evening, everybody. It is 6 o'clock and we'll begin the meeting. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Allegheny Clarion Valley School District Board of Education workshop. The workshops are handled virtually, so make sure your mic is on mute. Feel free to raise your hands or just unmute yourself if you'd like to comment throughout the workshop. I will start with having Tammy begin with the roll call. Tammy?
Carrie Armagost. Here. Megan Dreher.
Here.
Jen Fight.
Here.
Diane Page.
Here.
Corey Sherman.
Here.
Lena Southworth.
Here.
Jameen Stump.
Here.
Kelly Terwilliger.
Here.
Mark Vertel.
Here.
Thank you, Tammy. We'll begin with a review of the consent agenda. You'll see this evening that we have 3 conferences in front of you. We do have Stephanie Best, our elementary school librarian. She put in for the annual virtual conference this year is from April 15th to the 17th. It will be recorded and she can access the recordings for up to 6 months afterwards. They'll be listening to authors, doing curriculum development, media literacy, technology research, and model curriculums. And they're going to be working on a digital literacy curriculum for pre-K through 12th grade. So that's a very beneficial conference that the high school librarian RJ and her flip-flop back and forth. So I do make that recommendation. Stephanie's eager to learn. The second conference in front of you this evening is from Michelle Austin. It's the annual spring virtual conference this year. And they review child accounting, tracking resident students. They work on instructional time templates and any kind of Act 80 exemption. They also are provided with foster care updates and reporting for special education. Keep in mind that Michelle's our homeless liaison as well, and there's always a section about homeless youth in there as well. So again, another conference that's definitely recommended. And then our third and final conference is from Holly Irwin and Tracy Daly, the two school nurses. It's difficult to find professional development for the school nurses because they're a unique group. They did find one. It's from April 9th to April 11th, and it's through the Pennsylvania Association of School Nurses. So the topics are relevant. They're talking about chronic health conditions in a school setting. They're reviewing current school health issues, and then they'll obviously network with colleagues. One of the keynote speakers is David Rubin. He's a doctor from the Children's Hospital, and he's going to be discussing how to navigate the COVID-19 pandemic. So again, another great conference. I'm really glad that Holly and Tracy was able to find that. Are there any questions about the conferences? Moving down through letter B on the consent agenda, we do have a letter from the prom committee, Stacy Fox and Megan Bashline, and they're the prom advisors. We met as a committee a couple different times, and we've been discussing when we're going to hold prom. So this evening, we have a motion in front of the school board to approve having prom on Saturday, June 5th. That would be the Saturday following graduation. And I do have Stacy and Megan on the Zoom call today. So Stacy or Megan, is there anything you'd like to add into that discussion?
I don't think we have anything that we'd like to add at this time unless there's questions for us.
Okay. Anything from the school board? I know we've been discussing the dates, and you know, the kids really want to have it before they graduate and totally understand where they're coming from. Some of the concerns that we have is you know, finding subs to free up Stacy and Megan to help set up and prepare for prom, and then also you know, just space. We're using the gymnasium at the high school for overflow in the cafeteria, but those were two concerns that I had, and I thought it'd be great to do it June 5th. But I'm a male, and I raised a male son, so my recommendation to hold it on a Wednesday was not well received by everybody. So I'll step back and turn it over to anybody who'd like to jump into this time.
I will say, just so that you all can, I don't know if you can see her little head over here, but Abby is sitting here with me as she wanted to hear what the discussion was. And we have been going back and forth a lot through email, just trying to, you know, determine what's the best date and everything for the prom to be held, just so that everyone is aware. That was part of when you weren't able to be part of the discussion, that the kids really want to have it before graduation. There's a lot of discussion that a lot of kids won't attend after graduation, feeling like graduation is the end of their high school career, and the fact that they would like to do it before that, it's part of that build up to prom and graduation and all of that. So the kids are really pushing, and I do believe that Noah and Abby, you had a discussion with Mr. Jordan as well. Did you not?
Yeah, we talked to him and we asked him like why we couldn't have it before school ends, and we found a date which would be May 1st, and he said that he's basically for it. There was like questions about like who will cover for Stacy and Megan, and we had Carrie and my mom like said that they would come in and help set up and stuff like that. And then we asked Mr. Jordan about the use of the gym, and we suggested that we only decorate half of it, and by that time it'll be warm enough that the kids will want to eat outside for lunch. So we're thinking that we could do it, and Mr. Jordan said that it was easy to, like, not easy, but like feasible to do.
It's a good idea, Abby.
I don't have a problem with that. I think that, I mean, this is their kid's senior year, you know, I mean, like, I understand June 5th would be ideal, but Stacy, Megan, what are your thoughts on that?
I thought we as a committee had already decided we were having it in June.
We did. We had all agreed to do it June 5th.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't on the committee.
Well, at our board meeting, our last meeting, when we talked about it.
We did, and when we went to the kids with the date and things, they had come back to us asking if we could reconsider the date.
I don't like the date of May 1st because I made plans based on the decision that the prom would be on June 5th. I'm willing to do it in another date, but I am unavailable at that time. And I would like to see it through because, you know, it is my job.
My concern with having it, this is Jameen, my concern with having it during the school week is we're taking a chance that it's warm enough or not raining that people would eat outside, because you have to begin decorating Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And we're currently using the gymnasium in addition to the cafeteria to feed the kids because of social distancing. And we're taking a big chance that even on May 1st, that the weather would be decent for a couple of days for the kids to eat outside. Because the kids do want to have it in the gym, they don't want to have it off site. My suggestion would be, if you want to have it earlier, then have it off site.
I think that the kids have talked about that. The problem being that there is the finances. You know, we've had a lot of discussion since we have gone to individual accounts in terms of fundraising that, you know, the finances just aren't there.
Well, and again, we met and the superintendent, the principal, and the two prom advisors all agreed to that date. And we all said at the time that there may be people not happy with that date, but that was what worked for everybody, and they thought they could do the best prom possible. So I just kind of feel that since that was decided and the advisors were told to do it that way, now it's a little bit difficult for them to switch gears.
I agree with Jameen on that.
I'm also concerned, we can't expect the kids to eat lunch outside. What if it's raining?
I understand everybody's concern. I guess I'm just, you know, that last year the kids were not able to have a prom period. So they didn't have a junior prom, and this is their senior prom. So they're, you know, I guess that's just my look at it. And I absolutely get it that I'm a little biased on this point. You know, I will admit that freely and openly. You know, we've had to make some hard decisions with this class already because of everything going on. So I'm just trying to, you know, help them here.
Any other comments about the date of prom? Okay, we'll be voting on that next Monday. Abby, thank you and your classmates, and tell them we'll do our best to accommodate everybody. Moving down through the agenda, under finance and purchase, we'll revisit letter A through H during the voting meeting, and we'll have more information for you. I'd like to direct your attention to letter I, a discussion associated with the E-rate proposal. We did advertise to get bids, and it was in the media for 3 weeks. We did receive 3 proposals. The due date was today at noon. Today at 1 o'clock, the committee got together that consisted of RJ, Jeff, Aaron, Emmy, Andrea, and myself. We utilized a rubric and we evaluated all 3 proposals. We had 1 complete proposal that we will put in front of the board to vote on Monday the 15th. The proposal was just over $30,000. It was for PoE switches. It was for core switches, HPE expansion switch, power supply, and Aruba, a warranty for 48 months that come on top of all the documentation there. Just keep in mind that the district gets reimbursed 70% on, or 70 cents on every dollar that's spent. So we're working on that, and we'll put that in front of the board. We are working on the budget as well, and we'll budget our side of things. Any questions about the E-rate proposal? Letter J, I do have Mr. Milford on the Zoom session with us tonight to talk in a little bit more detail, but we have a discussion related to the district-wide parking lot project. And we've been talking about doing some upgrades out there. I did look through my notes. The last time that we had worked on a project or the parking lot was 2014, and we had Terra Works come in. And at that time, they sealed some cracks, did some tar and chip, and they also did some milling and paving. And it was $194,250. We haven't done anything since. I did walk through the parking lots today. You know, parts of the parking lots in pretty good shape, and there's other parts that are in desperate need of revitalization. And if we can get in there, seal the cracks and prevent further damage, then we can sustain what we have. And the real money starts whenever you begin doing the milling and paving. Mark, is there anything you'd like to add in at this time?
No, I think you covered it there, David. Exactly. Is you know, we're just trying to save what we have and not have to go into a major expense.
Any questions about that parking lot? We did draft up a bid proposal when we have it out. And we're seeking bids at this time. We'll put it in front of the board before we go any further, but our anticipated completion date would be the end of July. That would enable us enough time to prepare for the fall, and hopefully we have a band camp up and all the athletics starting, and we're hoping to be completed by then.
Where are the really rough parts in the parking lot? You know, I usually am just down right around the elementary school there in the front and right in front of the high school. So I haven't really noticed anything. So just kind of give me an idea.
I'm sure Mark will go into more detail, but I went out and today for a little bit of a walk before the meeting, and the parking lot in front of the high school is in pretty good shape. But really it's the area where most of the traffic is. As you come into main drag gen and then you make a left down towards the elementary, that little section right there has a lot of cracks in it that I noticed. And Mark, I didn't get back up into the high school lot. Is there other areas that you were noticing?
No, the elementary, like what you said there, David, and all around the elementary school and the back parking lots, the spider webbing, Jen, if you notice and look at all the cracks that are starting to form, we want to just try to take care of them and seal them all up and put a tar and chip on and save what we have.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure. I'm moving down through finance and purchase letter K. We also have a discussion related to the elementary school elevator control panels and then the junior senior high school cafeteria floor replacement. And Mark, I think you'll be able to address these two items a little bit better than me at this time.
Yeah, the elevator we have right now is was put in when the building was built in '96. The solid state boards, that part of the elevator is obsolete. They no longer produce those components. So we're trying to get that. We're going to get that rebuilt or redone, bring it up to date and with new technology. To hopefully we won't lose our elevator for a long period of time. The high school cafeteria floor has been coming loose. We were hoping last year, we thought maybe we might get some grant money to do some asbestos abatement. That didn't come through since the COVID pandemic. So the high school cafeteria floor is coming loose. So we're trying to get that taken care of during the summer so we don't have to shut the cafeteria down during the school year and have to feed the kids somewhere else in the school. So we're trying to just get ahead of that before we have a real problem there. It's becoming a safety problem, safety concern also with the tile coming loose.
Thanks, Mark. Any questions for Mark about those two projects? I mean, really safety related on both of them. Hearing none, I'll continue on down through the agenda. Letter L under finance and purchase. I did share with the school board just an overview of the ESSER 2 money. Just keep in mind that the Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriations Act, CRRSA, was enacted in December 27, 2020. It includes $53.4 billion for the elementary and secondary school emergency relief fund. So that's the ESSER 2 money that came out. So that's the second wave of money. So the ESSER 2 funds award is based off of the Part A, Title I, Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965. So they based our allocation off of Title I. The money can be used from the onset of the emergency, which was March 13th, 2020, and it goes out to September 30th, 2023. And possible use for the expenditures are to address student learning loss and health and safety. So I just did a projection and I threw out some rough numbers because we haven't worked everything down through yet, but our focus for combating student learning loss is going to be a multi-tiered approach. So beginning with an additional day for the social worker that we have here on campus to help support the students and their mental well-being. We're looking to add an elementary school math coach to help combat some of the learning loss. Lori and her staff has a good plan in place, and we're staffed for the ELA side of things, and we really don't have a math component. And we feel right now that's vitally important for the student success. In addition to that, we're looking at making some upgrades to the hardware and software packages that we have. So in this year one funding, I put in for 200 additional new Chromebooks, and then also the elementary and junior senior high school software programs, and that's just about $45,000. We also are looking at continuing on with a summer remediation program. And then part of this grant I'd like to use for the AC Valley cyber service cost, because some students need an alternative to face-to-face learning. And we're going to continue on with the light duty 4-hour custodians during the day. They've been essential with wiping down high contact services and working in conjunction with the current staff. And then Forecast 5 is a software program to help analyze finances, student data, and other PD reported information. Those are all to combat student learning loss year one. We're also looking at doing health and safety upgrades. We'll continue on with adding additional cleaning supplies and disinfectants. And we also have $250,000 down as a potential upgrade to the HVAC system. The business office and maintenance director and myself met with the McClure company, and we're reviewing various options that we might be able to tackle. And theoretically, what we're looking at doing is increasing more fresh air from the outside into the elementary school and the district office. If you remember, a couple years ago, we did the Act 39 energy efficiency program, and we redid the total HVAC system up at the junior senior high school. We're still waiting for specifics on those HVAC controls. We may have to revisit that part of it and look for a different project. It just may not fit into our price range. At the end of year one, with that projected total, is just over $550,000. Year two, we're going to focus in on, again, student learning loss by increasing the hardware and software packages that we have currently. If we can continue to add additional Chromebooks, we can ensure a one-to-one computing situation. Additional software, both at the elementary and high school. We'll continue on with that summer remediation program. And again, I had Julie Raybuck contact a number of families that were out in cyber service right now through the AC Valley program. And it seems like it's somewhat split. There's a handful of students coming back, but there's also additional families that are uncertain at this time. So if we can help offset that cost, would be great. And then health and safety will add additional money into the cleaning and disinfectant that Mark and his crew utilizes. And then finishing off on year three, it would be done by September 30th, 2023. We have some additional money for the technology software. So we're looking at continuing on with those programs, both at the elementary and high school, and then finishing off with additional disinfectant and cleaning supplies. So the overall projection that I have right now is about $727,000 in that 3-year proposal in front of the board right there. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later on tonight during the executive session, but I wanted to share with the school board and the community some ideas that we have. And again, this is a rough guide for us to move forward at this time. I did read today that the new stimulus package, ESSER 3's on its way out, and we're still waiting to get more information about that. But that should be additional money's coming into the district, and we'll work together as a team and utilize it effectively to combat student learning loss and do our best to keep people healthy and safe. Are there any questions from school board members or administration? Any comments about the ESSER II budget at this time.
David, is there any way we can use any of that to offset the amount that we're going to be in the hole in the budget?
Not necessarily, Kelly. We can target projects that we would otherwise take, from local money, and that's the goal we're looking at doing long term. We're hoping to offset it that way, but we can't necessarily go back and supplant certain areas. Like that math coach, that's something we were looking at adding on a temporary full-time math coach for next year to help out. But as far as covering other staff members or something at this time, unfortunately, no.
Okay, thanks, David.
Sure. Any other questions about that proposal? Okay, hearing none, we'll continue on down through personnel. Letter A, we do have a retirement letter from Felicia Texter. She's been teaching for 38 years, and I really enjoy my time spent with her in her classroom, and she's had a lasting impact on a lot of AC Valley students over the years. So she's going to be greatly missed. She's got a wonderful personality, and that whole 5-6 community up there, they're really focused in on academics, and we appreciate everything she's done over the years. Letter B, again, unfortunately, we're accepting a resignation from Grant Grasha. He's our food service director, and Grant found another job and he'll be moving on. So we hate to see Grant leave, but he's done an absolutely great job working with our staff and developing a lunch program and breakfast program that is not only nutritious, but well received by the students and staff. So we do thank Grant for everything that he's done over the years. On the top of page 2, letter C, we have a couple volunteers. We have Bob Bowser volunteered for the varsity football program. Bryn Chalmers volunteering for the football program as well. Letter E and F, we don't have names for the board at this time, but Mark and I will be interviewing. We have 4 applicants, and we'll make a recommendation to hire for Monday. And just keep in mind that this 3-hour position was vacated by the 4-hour ESSER grant funded position. So the 2 people who were in-house took the other positions working during the day for an additional hour per day. So this probably will not be long-term positions, but they are 3 hours per day, and there's 2 of them that we're looking to fill. Letter G, we're looking to hire a food service director. We do have interviews tomorrow evening, and we'll make a recommendation to the full school board for Monday, the 15th. And we moved quickly on that. We advertised it to hopefully have the new person work in conjunction with Mr. Grasha for the last month before he vacates that position, because there's a lot of information to be learned. Letter H, each year we provide Mark Milford with the ability to hire 6 of the AC Valley students. We put 3 up at the junior, senior high school and 3 at the elementary. They help to support the current staff, and they do deep cleaning. They tear everything out of the rooms, they clean it, they wipe it down, put everything back in. And there's a lot of work that they've done over the years, and that really helps Mark and the crew out. Letter I, we've had Heidi Hobbs on for a couple summers now, and we're looking to put her back in the summer mowing, and we've been paying her $10 per hour over the last couple of years. Any questions about those items before we move into the 2 job descriptions? Letter J, that's a new position that Anna Smith and Tim Danish had came to me with, and the goal with this particular position is to support our staff with some of our more needy students and students that have disabilities that may not be able to make them successful in a normal classroom setting. So in the past, some of these students say we couldn't meet their needs, so they went off into an IU classroom, and that classroom may or may not be here at AC Valley. So the goal is to bring some of the students back, offer them additional supports through the itinerant inclusion support teacher, and then also prevent other students, hopefully, from not having their needs met here at the district and keep them from leaving to go to other programs. Every student that we leave costs us money. So we thought, okay, well, we can put an investment back into this program, and with the goal to hopefully bring more of the students back, maybe creating our own classroom, depending on the students' needs and their age level. So this would be a full-time permanent AC Valley position if we choose to put that particular staff member on. We created the job description. We wanted to get the discussion started. This would be a position that would start with the 21-22 school year.
David,
Any
the
questions?
itinerant
Yes.
inclusion support, is that like an emotional support classroom?
You know what, Lena, that's a great question. It wouldn't necessarily be a classroom, but we envision this staff member working K through 12 and supporting the teachers.
Okay.
We'll have to find them a location, but it wouldn't be necessarily a pull out and a small group, probably more one-to-one or really small group, you know, supporting the teachers.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. Any other questions or comments?
And maybe you said this and I might have missed it. Are we looking to make this a permanent position?
Yes, Jen, it would be a permanent AC Valley position. We would be adding on a staff member.
David, I assume that these would be put out and posted in-house first, or?
Yes, it would be. Karen. Yeah, we have some people in-house that would be certified and maybe interested. It would be a unique position. You'd have to have the right temperament for it, but the rewards would be great.
And
Moving,
you said that this was, oh, I'm sorry. Who'd I interrupt there? You said that this would be a position that would provide support and that Tim and Anna are recommending. And is there, has there been any discussion about any other way to provide the service or support rather than hiring another full-time position? Has there been any discussion about that?
we have 6 learning support teachers. They all have a caseload, you know, 3 at the elementary, 3 at the high school. And we've just seen over the years that there's more and more needs with that particular group of students. So we just don't have the staff to be able to meet the IEP goals with the number of these kids. So that's why if we get a student, we try to exhaust every avenue we have here at the district and provide them with the least restricted environment. But it gets to the point where we can't meet the needs that they have. So we'd have to ship them out to another school district. And, you know, the transportation cost, there's IU cost. And there's a small group, there's about 4 or 5 students right now that are kind of tweeners. They could probably function and do quite well back here at the district with some additional supports. But without having those supports, we can't ensure that we're going to meet the students' IEP. So that's why we have them in a different classroom, like an emotional support or life skills or whatever it may be.
So David, if we do this and we bring those students back, they're going to be in the regular classroom most of the time. Am I correct?
Yeah, it probably depends on their particular needs, but that's how I envision it. They get a bulk of their lessons in the classroom, or maybe certain areas, if they have deficits, that'd be pulled out, or maybe even the teacher would be pushed in to help model and support the reg ed teacher to provide the accommodations. All good questions. And it's just a thought, you know, trying to offer additional supports to the students that we have here at AC Valley, additional supports to the staff, and help maybe offset some of those costs. Every time we send a kid to an IU classroom, it's roughly $30,000 and roughly $20,000 for transportation. So, you know, in our vision, if we can bring back 4 or 5 kids this year, and then maybe next year we can start to expand and start maybe meeting the needs of these students here locally, then sending them out.
And so we'll be saving money if we do this, correct?
It's an investment, Lena. You know, there is a cost that comes with hiring on an additional staff member. And I know over the years you've heard me, as we have attrition, you know, we try to cut back because of declining student numbers, but this is an investment. And right now, I sat down with Tim and we looked there's 4 kids that we could bring back right now. And there's 2 that we may not be able to keep here moving forward. So that could be 6 kids. I mean, you know, theoretically, that could be $180,000 of tuition we could save. And, you know, it depends on transportation. Sometimes we can get more than 1 kid on a van. But I think if we do it right, absolutely, we can save the district money and more importantly, meet the needs of some of these students, because a lot of our parents want the kids at AC Valley. And sometimes we just can't offer that.
The only thing that comes to mind for me when we're talking about this is that, you know, here, when we created the position that, and I can't think of the exact title, but that Jamie Simpson is in right now, our concern was that putting these kids, that our teachers are overwhelmed with some of the kids in their classroom. So if we're trying to really put these kids back into the regular classroom, are we not just defeating the purpose that of what we were trying to accomplish before with you know, providing that extra support there? And not, I guess I'm just concerned about pushing these kids back into the classroom and then not having enough support, because if they're on the border, they're higher need, I'm assuming, than, you know, our kids that we've got here already. So I just worry about that.
Yeah, well said.
I'm sorry. I agree with you totally, Jen. That's what I'm thinking. I understand we could possibly save money, but how many other issues are we going to have? And I'm thinking about the regular ed kids as well, because there could be disruptions in the classroom like you were talking about, Jen. So.
Yeah, and that was a large part of our discussion before. You know, we were very concerned about that, and you know, with the disruption to the classroom and things like that. So I just really, I think I need to have some more thought or discussion about this. I'm really concerned about that, and I don't want to undo the things that we've done to try to get some relief for our teachers.
Is there a way, David, that we could make it so that it would be in a classroom setting? So they would be pulled out for certain instruction and then put back in?
You know what, I'm going to have to get with Tim, and I'll either have him at the next meeting or have him jot up some questions because I can't answer that question. It depends on the particular disability and the age of the students. There's a potential that we could pull the kids back, and if there was a large enough group, then we could create our own classroom and put the kids in there. Now, they would be doing some mainstreaming, but they could get a bulk of their instruction, you know, in the pull-out approach. So potentially, let me get back to you on that one. That's a good question.
I mean, with least restrictive environment, I think we're going to find they're going to be placed in the classrooms quite a bit.
Sure. As much as, you know, we can. All valid concerns, just a different approach that we thought that we'd share with the board this evening. Well, I'll get more information and share that with the school board at a later date. Moving down to letter K. Again, this is part of the ESSER funds. It's a grant funded position. It would be to target learning loss. Right now we have it written into the grant for 1 year. Depending on this ESSER 3 money, we can revisit it, see how the effectiveness of it is, but a elementary school math coach, I think would be well received by Mrs. Sherman and her staff. Any questions on that, or Lori, I know you're on, is there any comments that you'd like to make on that behalf?
So is the math coach going in and supporting the teacher, or are they pulling students out?
We were thinking it would work similarly to our reading specialists, you know, and how we use win times to do interventions with small groups. But it wouldn't have to, we have a math win time as well. It wouldn't have to be just during math win time. If teachers, you know, wanted some assistance during the core math times, we could, you know, schedule that as well. But in general terms, thinking along the lines of how our reading specialists support those who are struggling with some reading skills, the math coach would do the same for those struggling with math skills.
And
Any
then
other questions or comments?
just to make sure that I'm clear, this is a temporary position that we're going to pay for through these SR2 grant funds. So this would be a year to year, not a permanent staff member.
That's correct, Jen. Are there any other questions or comments about personnel before we move down into instructional services? Hearing none, this evening we have a couple other discussion points. We do have a conflict with the 2021 graduation date and the state track meet. We're anticipating at least one of our seniors going out to Hershey for the state track meet, which would unfortunately prevent the student from walking on graduation date that was set. And we have that down as May 28th at this time. That was the calendar we specifically put down at the bottom. Graduation will be on Friday, May 28th, 2021, without knowing that there could be potential conflict. Now, with the caveat is that baseball and softball playoffs will be going on around that time too. So I don't know another good date or potential date. I'd hate to move that date and it impact another group of students. The only option, and I could throw it out there, I'm not sure if the board's in favor, I'd be perfectly fine with it, would be a Sunday graduation. And next year's calendar, you'll see it's the next item there. We have another conflict with the same track meet. We have graduation projected for Thursday, but the kids leave Thursday to go out to Hershey. So Sunday, you're not going to have conflicts. I don't know if that's a discussion point or if anybody else would like to add anything in. We'll focus in on the 2021 graduation date first, and then I'll share a little bit more information about the 21-22 district calendar.
David, didn't we hold one on a Sunday one other time years ago?
Not since I've been here, Kelly.
Was it a Saturday then? I know we had one on the weekend, I thought.
I'm thinking, Kelly, we did, but
yeah, we did.
I can't remember when it was. It like at the beginning of my board membership, if I recall correctly.
And I thought we did it that way because we asked the parents and they preferred it to be on a weekend versus having it a night after graduation, I thought, wasn't it?
Yeah, and David mentioned this to me while we were meeting for the board. We meet, before we send the board agenda out, and he had mentioned this to me. I don't have any problem with it, and it alleviates a lot of issues, with conflicts with practices and games and the state track meet and things. And I know at the high school that I went to, ours was always on a Sunday. That was just the day that we had always had. That way there was never any conflict with it.
So are you thinking like a Sunday evening, David, or Sunday afternoon?
I haven't got that far, Kelly. I just thought I'd throw that out as a discussion point. I mean, we could leave it as is too and not move it because I think maybe some people have already made plans. I did put a hold on the graduation announcements from Belfour, so we do have some latitude to move it around. As far as middle of the day, evening, I'd be open for any of the either.
I'm trying to think where the sun is if we have it in the middle of the day. Is that going to cause an issue? Would we need to wait till later?
Mark would probably have a better answer for that. I know in the evening at 7 o'clock, it's fantastic out there on the football field.
I don't think it's fair for us to not have it when that student can be at his graduation. I mean,
well, would that student be back on Sunday? Would the track meet be over by then?
I believe that the states are over on Saturday nights.
That is correct, Jen.
That's what
What about the baseball and softball playoff games? Would they be playing on a Sunday or not?
I wouldn't think so.
No, they do not play on Sundays.
Okay.
I mean, Sunday's fine with me. I don't have anybody participating, so it doesn't make any difference to me, but it seems like it would be a viable solution.
That's what I thought as well. I didn't even think about being outside and time of day with the sun and things like that. I know that at my school, we had ours at Teal College, and we would have it at, I think it was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Sundays. That way people could go to church and then come to graduation. But I'm fine with it being on Sunday to make sure that everybody can participate. And I don't have a problem, having it on Sundays in the future just to avoid conflicts.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I agree too, Jen. I think it would be nice to pick a day and stay with it. That way everybody knows. And we've been finding so much conflict in the last several years that it doesn't seem to work for everybody.
Mark Milford, do you have a recommendation as far as time? You're out there on the field probably more than most of us.
No, either way, the football field, or if we did it under the canopy of the high school like we did last year, I think we're probably good anything there. Obviously, the afternoon is going to be, the sun could be, straight above you.
True.
So it sounds to me like most everybody is okay with, from the folks that have spoken up, most everybody's okay with moving it to Sunday, and then we can just figure out a time. So that would be what, Sunday, May 30th.
Sunday's fine with me.
Sunday's fine with me.
And then you guys can all work on what time of the day it should be.
Okay, I'll talk to Dr. Jordan and Mr. Milford, and we'll get things figured out as far as the time. And I'll put that on the agenda for next week to vote on formally. And that discussion takes us right into the 21-22 calendar. You have that in front of you, very similar to what we have done this past year, with a couple caveats. We will start an in-service day on August 23 and August 24th, and then the first student day would be August 25th. That's a Wednesday. And then we'll come back, and I have no makeup days built into this calendar, and I'm not exactly sure what direction we want to go. If we want to focus on a flexible instructional days, we could leave the snow makeup days in there and use them if needed. If we get to a situation where we can't, make that day up or not. And I did that, and I tightened up the calendar with a projected graduation date as Thursday, May 26th. The one thing I did do was I took January 3rd out of the Christmas break. Everybody's like, over the years, we had that Monday off to try to move that date up. I could put that back in the calendar as an additional day off for Christmas, and then move that last student day to Friday, the 27th. And then we could do the graduation on Sunday, whatever date that is. I don't have that in front of me right now.
I think it would alleviate a lot of our issues with dates and sports if we look at doing them on Sundays. Graduations, just plan on having them on a Sunday.
Yeah, I think so as well. Now, the only thing with 2022 would be that if we had it after on the Sunday after the last day of school, that's Memorial Day weekend. I don't know if that's an issue for folks.
That may be an issue with.
It's Memorial Day weekend this year, so it wouldn't really be any different.
Yeah, Memorial Day's late this year.
Right, because the state track meet is always over Memorial Day weekend. That's why we've been falling into these issues.
I thought Memorial Day this year was the 24th.
No,
I think that's why we're in the boat we're in now, Jen, is because when we were discussing the calendar, last year, I think that's what we thought. And I remember having the discussion about the track meet, but it is always the last Monday, which would make it the 31st. And the state track meet, is always that weekend.
Okay, I gotcha.
Sure. And same with next year is the 30th would be Memorial Day.
I guess we could look at it two ways. It might be an issue, or it might let more people come because they're home for the holidays.
Yeah, that's true. I would like to see us have it on the same, like on a set day of the week, you know, like on a Sunday, so that it's not conflicting with anything. You know, and I'm fine with, you know, if we have, I wasn't thinking this was Memorial Day weekend, but that's my bad. I had it on my actual calendar as the 24th, so I'm fine with it that weekend.
Okay. How about those building snow days? And again, those are directly aligned with the Career Center. And the reason why I put them in there, I thought maybe if we did have snow makeup days, those kids could actually go up to the Career Center, you know, if we all missed a day on the same time. So that's part of the reason why I had building snow makeup days on the 21-22 calendar.
Well, and I appreciate that, David, because those kids have lost so much instructional time between this year and last year. And so if you have a senior that needs to make up time and they need those snow days built in there.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, I'm good with leaving those snow days to align with the Career Center.
Okay, so I'll make a couple adjustments to this calendar. I'll add January 3rd as an additional day off for Christmas. We'll move the last day of students here being on campus till May 27th, and then we'll do the graduation on Sunday.
So we're doing away with flexible instruction days.
That's up for discussion, Kelly. I'm not totally opposed to it. I think depending on the particular situation, I mean, if we have a water issue, obviously we'll use them. I think if it's a snow day that will be completely off, you know, potentially use it. You know, we just had a discussion about getting staff members in here when students and teachers were at home and they're trying to offer food. There was a number of different concerns that we had. We do have a 3-year application that was approved through PDE, so we could use them.
It might be nice to do a combination so that maybe we can guarantee Easter break or some other time that we want to make sure kids are guaranteed so many days. So do a combination of some flexible instruction days and some snow days. Hopefully we won't have to do any of them, but you never know.
Let's hope not. Okay, anything else with the 2 calendars, graduation date and the 21-22 calendar? I think I got direction anyways to move forward. Okay, under policy, we have a number of policies tonight. A, B, C are the second readings as work periods policy 332, telework policy 309.1, and the school calendar policy 803. Last month we had the discussion. We're just going through the second reading. So unless there's other questions, I'm not going to go back through those policies. Adding to the policy section, we do have policy 150, Title I, comparability services, and there's a very minor language change. They just added the word grade span to it, and it's just getting us in compliance for our next audits. So there's no big changes with that. And then I got letter E, policy 137.1 in front of you, and that's extracurricular participation by home education students. And there was just 2 minor changes in that policy too. The one is that, you know, obviously the student has to be a resident of the school district to be able to participate. And the second one is that the students could be offered a Junior Reserves Officer Training Corps, so the JROTC, if there was anything available. So those are the only changes with extracurricular policy 137.1. Any questions on the second reading or even the first reading of policy 150 or 137.1? And just keep in mind that we do have a membership through PSBA, and periodically we'll be sent out PNN newsletters, and we just update policies every so often. I don't update every single policy that's sent out, but I try to stay up on those, review them, and just keep everything updated. So that's why you'll see certain policies come in front of you. I'm moving down through the agenda on page 3 under transportation. We've had a lot of discussion here in the district office along with Lori Sherman and some of the board members. And we have a motion in front of you this evening to pay the van contractors and the 2 Clarion County Career Center runs out for the 40 days that we had missed from October 30th to January 8th. This will ensure that everybody district-wide, has been paid. And then also, more importantly, that the district can get reimbursement through the state for that period of time. So we did some calculations and they were all rough, but I think it would be definitely worth the district's to consider paying out the van contractors and the Clarion County Career Center runs for those dates. And Lori spent a lot of work on this too. So if you have any questions for myself and Lori, we'll discuss them at this time.
I don't have any questions. Once I took a look at that information that you had provided to us, that makes sense to me.
Thank you. Letter B, under transportation, we do have a driver for Bob McClendon, John Dunkel, that Lori will interview and ensure that all the paperwork's in place, and then we can add that person on Monday. Under miscellaneous, I'm not sure if there's been a Career Center report or if you want to wait till the voting meeting. Under the intermediate unit report, there is a discussion related to the IU general operating budget. And just keep in mind that our share would be $11,766 this year. Last year, it was $12,021. Year before, it's $12,546. And this is just operating the IU. We have additional charges. So as we talked about earlier, if we have more kids in the IU classrooms, then our cost of the IU goes up. This is just a general operating budget. All 17 schools are to approve this item, then it goes back, and then the IU JOC board can actually, or the SAC board can go ahead and vote on it. Pretty simple and straightforward with that motion right there. And Jen, do we want to come down through those reports, or do we want to wait for the voting meeting for all those items?
I would say we should just wait till the voting meeting for those.
Sounds good. And then as we finish off this evening under new business, Dr. Jordan and myself have been working with Mrs. Rothen about the senior trip. Since the travel restrictions have been lifted, she worked on an itinerary and sent it down for us to consider them going into Gatlinburg, Tennessee on May 14th through the 16th. She did break that down and had the cost per student. You should have that in your packet right now. You can take a look at that. They're looking for feedback one way or the other. They said that they'd do the Pennsylvania trip if we want them, or, they'd be willing to dive into it and take the kids down so that they can enjoy a long weekend in Tennessee. If you can see the itinerary in front of you, it looks like there's a whole host of activities that they have planned. They'll depart AC Valley on the 13th at 11:30, drive throughout the night. They'll arrive at Dollywood and they'll go in and, enjoy the park during the day. They got dinner and then they'll go back to the hotel. Lights out by 11, firm. And then on the 15th, they'll get up and go to Ripley's Aquarium. There's a ropes course down there that they'll participate in. They have a dinner theater, which sounds fantastic, and then an Appalachian Ghost Walk, which sounds like that would be a fantastic evening down there for the kids. And then back to the hotel. The 16th, they'll get up, they'll go to the Smoky Mountain National Park and have lunch and then depart for home. And generally they get back late, 11, 12 o'clock. And estimated cost for the students would be $472. And I'm going to add that, there's a lot of help and support from the community, and Clay and Linda Snyder had offered to take care of the rooms for the kids going down there. Clay's a AC Valley graduate, and, we can't thank them enough.
That's wonderful that they've offered that for them.
Any questions or comments about the senior trip? Does anybody have any concerns at this time, or should I kind of give Mary the nudge to continue to move forward with the planning?
I'm assuming that the kids would prefer the Tennessee trip over staying in Pennsylvania.
That is correct.
I don't want to
I
speak
don't
for the
have,
kids, but I'm assuming they would.
I don't have a problem with them going to Tennessee instead.
No, I'm fine with that too.
I think honestly, just, weather wise, I think they'll be able to spend a lot more time outside in Tennessee and, let them enjoy their original plan, with that travel restriction being lifted. And I'd like to see them have a really good time.
Great. Yeah, it sounds fantastic. Now, the chaperones will, for the most part, be Dr. Jordan, Mary Roth, and Melinda Farrington. And then Eric Roth was volunteered to be the nurse on staff to help transport the medication. And we're working to make sure Eric has all the clearances up to snuff as well. So I can't thank Mary and her family enough for the help they put into it. And then as we finish off today, I just want to give the school board an update that we've been working in conjunction with the governor's office, the Pennsylvania Department of Health, the Pennsylvania Department of Education, and the local intermediate unit number 6 to provide the Johnson & Johnson vaccine to interested AC Valley staff members. So it's been 4 or 5 days we've been working on that. And I believe we have everything set up for March 12th, 13th, and 14th. We've had some adjustments, but we had worked over the weekend. We sent out a survey. Our staff members completed it. A majority of them completed it. Some of them are taking, signed up, getting ready to take the vaccine. Some people have already gotten the vaccine, and some people, aren't interested right now. They're probably waiting for some of the other populations to get theirs. So we're moving in the right direction. It hasn't been without some hiccups, but it's fantastic that the teachers in Pennsylvania were given that opportunity. Last week sometime, there was over 380 school districts still closed, offering some kind of virtual hybrid situation. But it's northwestern Pennsylvania, we're all back into school, and that's only going to help and support our teacher staff. So I thank everybody who was involved with that and appreciate all the help and support that the teachers have given us.
So will all our teachers qualify, David? Because I know they had to look at things and make sure everybody qualified.
Kelly, that's a good question. They had 2 groups. They had elementary teachers, K through 6, and K through 12 learning support staff members, and then anybody else associated with them. That would be group 1, and then group 2 would be all other staff members. From what I understand, there were 1,700 doses available, and it seemed as if there was just over 800 people registered. So I haven't got into that part of it, Kelly. There was that group 1 and 2, but I think they may all register and sign up over that weekend. So I'm not even sure if they're going to break them into 2 different groups at this time. I'm pretty sure if you're signed up and you want to get a shot, you're going to get a shot.
Good, thank you.
Sure. Any other questions for me about the workshop? Anything that I've covered? Maybe you need some more information before Monday, the 15th? Lori sent a chat. Hearing nothing else, we'll go ahead and exit the meeting. I do appreciate everybody here that was part of the meeting and all the AC Valley folks joining through the YouTube Live. School board members, we will be breaking for an executive session. I've sent out a separate Zoom link. I could send that again if you need it. And we'll reconvene for an executive session to discuss personnel.
Could we just take a quick 5-minute break before we join in the executive session?
Oh, sure.
Okay, great. So I have 7 o'clock on the dot right now. So if we could all reconvene.
David, did you say you sent that out?
Yes, I did. I'll resend it out, Jameen.
Yes, please, if you would. Thank you.
Sure thing. All right. Have a good evening, everybody, and I'll see the school board members here shortly.